Here, we'll explain how the Tibetan Plateau changes weather patterns all the way on the other side of the planet, and even potentially caused the Ice Age. That's according to climatologists anyway. The Tibetan Plateau is actually so high up that it has the third largest ice sheet, after Antarctica and Greenland. This is despite it not being anywhere near the poles, where ice sheets traditionally hang out. Ice sheets actually reflect so much radiation from the sun back into space that it actually has an observable effect on the amount of heat contained in our atmosphere. But the poles have ice caps because they exist where there is less heat and light from the sun. But for the Tibetan Plateau, ice sheets form as a result of the crazy high altitude that it exists at. And because it's in a latitude that usually receives more radiation from the sun, the Tibetan Plateau has an effect that is 4 times the global cooling than other inland ice formations. But here's a curveball for you. If the Tibetan Plateau wasn't there, if it happened to disappear tomorrow, the northern hemisphere temperatures would decrease, not increase. A study found that it would actually decrease temperatures by 4 degrees Celsius in the northern hemisphere if it didn't exist. This is because of the effect that it has on global wind patterns, which transport moisture and heat around the world. Without the plateau, the northern hemisphere would be 10% drier than it is now. You see, the plateau causes changes to global wind currents, and the winds that are pushed up the mountains get colder and lose their humidity. This creates the monsoon season storms that affect much of Asia. Without it being there, these monsoon rains would not exist. Researchers believe that without Tibetan Plateau affecting the Earth's wind currents, the ocean currents would be altered too, causing the North Atlantic to become 15 degrees colder and 20% drier. So if the plateau has a warming effect, how did it help cause the Ice Age, like I said it did at the beginning of the video? Here we really get to see the crazy effects the Tibetan Plateau has on the planet, because while it made things overall wetter in the northern hemisphere, it also blocked moisture from getting inland, causing the Gobi and Mongolian deserts to form, and significantly drying out Central Asia. Because of that, these now dry areas turned from soil to dust, and a lot of that dust ended up in the atmosphere, which then blocked heat from getting to our planet. This resulted in global temperatures decreasing, resulting in an ice age. So the Tibetan Plateau does a lot to both heat and cool areas of the world, and it's responsible for heating the northern Atlantic, creating monsoons, and also for reflecting more light from the Earth. Not to mention creating the deserts, which then caused the Ice Age. That's why I personally don't mess with the Tibetan Plateau. If you want to see more videos, then subscribe. Here's one already made which goes more in detail about how our climates are formed.